Hi, my lovely follower. Before I start, I like with the leadership to start with the quote of the day at the beginning, which is actually Mahatma Gandhi's quote. He said, "A sign of good leader is not how many followers you have, but how many leaders you create." Hello, my lovely follower. I am Ibrahim Kattan, and I am so excited for this episode, the concept of leadership with some example. I'm thankful to Allah for everything we have as actually family and as follower as you. Let us start my topic. The reason I'm choosing this topic are actually every person practice the leadership every day at home, with a job, with the company, country, as the president also. Everybody actually practice leadership. Our experience of the leadership affects many countries. However, I would like to also focus on the other side of the good leadership. Okay, of course, maybe the environment of this country is different. I don't discuss about the detailed environment, but let's talk about some advancements of let's say, of some country like Singapore, South Korea, Malaysia, and China. They grow very fast and they become a role model for some countries, especially Singapore. Singapore got actually or granted independence in August 1965. Before that, there were a small part of Malaysian Federation, okay, and was very, very poor country. Malaysia felt that Singapore is burden on them. So with the political situation and the British involvement, they got actually independent. So the first prime minister was Mr. Lee, and he was selected for the country. Country was very poor, slum. He cried when he started the country because they didn't have water, they don't have any resources, any minerals, very poor country, corruption, drugs, everything you can actually imagine in that country before, let's say, 1965. So his focus was, the first thing is realized that the main problem is the education, because education actually graduate the lawyer, the doctor, the engineer. If this is corrupt, all the product will be also corrupt. So his main focus was in education. So he buckled up, say the teacher is the most important, and he set actually the highest salary for teacher. And after certain years, of course, the generation, today Singapore economy is one of the most stable in the world. So he actually first realized what is the problem, and then he take care about the education system. And if we talk about the homogeneity of the people in Singapore is so mixed, from extremely Buddhist to Muslims, and of course they are Muslim, they are Malaysian, they are Chinese origin. And right now, after all this period, the prime minister is actually Muslim, while the Muslim is minority there, and she has a scarf, hijab. She is very, very good, and people respect who work the right person and right position. She is very highly qualified and lawyer, and they choose her, and right now she is leading Singapore. So leadership very important. You can change the country to better or can destroy by irrational decision and go down, as we see it in many countries. So please stay till the end of this video. You will see there are many good concepts of leadership you will learn, and if you have any comments, you can actually support me to, let's say, I learn from you. I will be very grateful to all of you. Thank you very much. Okay, what is leadership first? Leadership is managing people. It's not easy. It is very tough to managing people, and it is actually, of course, based on some characteristic we born with, and some actually acquainted characteristic we will get it through our, let's say, growth and of course experience. So the most important thing in the leadership is the attitude, the kindness, the courage, the empathy, okay, respect to other human being, and of course the basic thing is to work hard for principle of positive social changes. So that's very important. By definition, the leadership is about the capacity of leader to listen and observe. So always in the, let's say, many of the leaders, just they try to dictate the others. In fact, you have to listen the people you are actually, let's say, leading, in order to know what is going on, basic on the information, and then so to use their expertise as a starting point to encourage dialogue between, let's say, all level of decision maker, to establish process and transparency in decision making of all the people working with you, to articulate their own values and vision clearly, but not imposing them. Okay, very important. Unfortunately, I actually, through my experience, I found many leaders, they like to people who tell them the thing they love to hear, and that's very dangerous. And same thing with the actually on all levels. So we should not actually only appreciate or the advisor somebody give us because we love that. We need to see the other side of the coin, which means they have to give us advisor which help us to go up, to grow, and actually solve a problem. So leadership is about setting and not actually just reacting to agendas, identifying problems, initiating actually changes that makes for substantial improvement and growth rather actually just changing manage. So what is actually effective leadership? Effective leadership will have comprehensive knowledge. It's very important. If the leadership does not know or hasn't enough knowledge about the company, so comprehensive knowledge is very important. Knowing what is right, what is wrong, and the desire and willingness and courage to do what is right without hesitating. So you need to be decisive also about your decision. Also, effective leader will have understanding, a clear understanding of professional business ethic, very important. Communication skill. Leadership should have actually a very good communication skill, an ability and willingness and openness to communicate issues with subordinate, ability to recognize ethical business issues. Also, effective leader need to appreciation. He has appreciation for the frequency of which the something or actually the employer does. Okay, now we go the approach. What actually are the leadership approach? The first approach is positive approach. Uses reward, motivation, encouragement of the employee by, let's say, sending to the special workshop or education, some reward and so forth. The other one is negative approach, which is emphasizing on penalties and punishment of the employee, which actually dropping the morale. And the other one is consideration approach, which means employee oriented. And the last one is structural approach, which actually by task, by project. You give actually project for certain group and you structure it, so they call it task orientation. Type of leadership. The type of leadership as defined by Kurt Leon, he said, a good leader uses all three styles depending on what forces are involved between the followers, the leader, and the situation. So what are those three types of leadership? There is autocratic, stepdaddy. In Arabic we call it stepdaddy. That means actually like dictatorship. And these are actually, of course, a system of rule in which power depends not on popular, let's say, legitimacy, but on the, let's say, absolute power of the authority, like if he is a president or a CEO of the company and so forth. The second one is participating, which is actually democratic. So it's more actually discussion with the subordinate, try to get actually feeling and ideas from subordinate, and the people will share most of their actually opinion with the, let's say, leader. The third one is delegative, which is we call it the free region. So of course, تمثيل شخص ينوب عنك, يعني we delegate somebody to work on that. This is where actually the leadership CEO is really busy or traveling, or he wants actually to give full delegation to somebody else. So this is called a delegative type. So what actually here Kurt Lewin said leader, successful leader who actually has all of this, the autocratic, democratic, and delegative. So it depends on the situation where you delegate some authority, where you need to be firm, and when actually you need to be more democratic and sit with the other to discuss. Everybody has different opinion. Maybe you disagree with me, but as this is one of the writers, he said the best leader, the good leader who use all three styles. Okay, now I will ask, what are the qualities of good leader? Of course, number one is honesty, confidence, patience, very important. The leadership should be focused, dedicated, consistency, of course, important, motivate others, effective communicator, responsibility, enthusiasm, reliability, decisiveness, determination, loyalty, courage, humility, able to listen, that's very important, and avoid argument argument, lead by example, okay, appreciate, have a clear vision, create a positive atmosphere. So all these are actually some of the characteristic of, let's say, or quality of good leader. Now, I would like also to say something about, I read the article very recently and about the research, then the last 2 decades, the true of women in power in the recent decades is very important. As we see now, noticeably lately, many women become leader and very successful leader. And this is good change because they have the basic characteristic of leadership, the kindness, the courage, the empathy, and the respect. So one of the references, they said, the higher the ratio of women in parliament, for example, the less corruption or corrupt the country. So that's one of the reference, they said that. Corporative criminality, women actually are much less, is less than 15%, while we see it in the other side is very high. So I think encouraging women in this actually recently is very important, and they are very successful leader in the level of the government, as a president, as prime minister, as we see, and also as the, let's say, CEO. Some references actually classify the leadership to 3 types. Traditional leaders, parsimony, which is mean بالوراثة. Okay, that means the son actually take leader after father and so forth. That's one type. Charismatic leader, الزعيم الجماهيري. So it is actually populist leader. And the other one is rational, legal, which is actually عقلاني وقانوني. That means by election, like United States or United Kingdom, when the parliament choose actually the prime minister. So these are 3 types. And let's go over charismatic leaders. There are actually publishing, of course, I'm not biased to any of this, but like we have very charismatic leader like just Mahatma Gandhi, who led the actually to free India from British by peaceful campaigning and struggle, and finally he won and India became free, independent as under his leadership. And of course we have the Castro, who actually president of Cuba for a long time, and some people look at him as a dictator, some people look at him as a free Cuba from the imperialistic, let's say that. And of course we have Che Guevara, and then we have the Martin Luther King. Also he followed the same policy of Mahatma Gandhi to free slave in America. He struggled and he has a well-known speech in Washington. Then we have Nelson Mandela, South Africa, who actually lived in the prison for over 28 years. He didn't give up. At the end, he was free and became president of South Africa. And that's the model actually I really like. And he could actually stay another term. He didn't want to go another term. He just was president for 1 term and he let actually other people to get the lead. This is really real model for someone struggle, fought, stay in the prison 28 years, and at the end when he come, people elect him, but he served only 1 term and he is a great leader. Well, at the end, I would like to go to my quote of the day. Leadership is seeing the possibilities in situations while others are seeing the limitation. That's very important. So successful leader or leadership is seeing the possibilities in a situation while others are seeing limitation. So the leadership is more positive than actually the others supposed to be. Okay, please put your comments down with your question or suggestion and subscribe. I hope you will see most of this video, because is actually the component is depend on the other for the understanding the basic leadership. And don't forget to actually like or share and stay safe. I love you all and enjoy this. Hallelujah.